15 October 2023, second part of our presentation is accountability to the International Criminal Court, the International Police, the OECD, and the antitrust justice, considering the structure we suggested, to do the cross-cut and cross the information required to apply decisions in global scale with the accuracy. The International Criminal Court, we got in touch with the International Police, the OECD is in touch with the IIA. Everybody can talk with the reserved service, as Secret Service in USA, the CIA, the KGB, about even the IIA, or the internal control as governance compliance of international business, banks. About issues required to the antitrust justice, have decision against the trust scam, colonial head corruption, and the International Criminal Court against the physiological use of power of trust scam as mobilization by state and public frauds, and the misuse of power to cover the power misuse, at least since 1920. To inside the Security Forum, Brazil USA, considering the interest as NATO, and also having the security plan that you also violated Brazilian peers, criminal offender, despite having no excuse to be or exist. As outlaw, you can be protected by the law if you are against this. As international reciprocity police, talking internationally, we will check that the Africa had a struggle, was the project an act observing the counterfeit, the fake money, the fake records, and the charts linked to Brazil charts on it. We have the struggle on Europe, which has an area here as Eurasia. The Asia is having a crisis at the infrastructure sector. This struggle on Europe leads to supply and things at the supply chain, considering the postal system and the cryptocurrency that has the judgment on America, North USA. We have the South America, a lot of problem as misuse of power, and many of them now are not accepting. This time they recognized home agreement to keep the corruption. Some of them transferring drugs to the Europe, to the USA, because they had needs as demand, but it's supply legal, it's a demand illegal. They both can be sent to jail, especially at the use of power by the UNODC complaint. Observe the Interpol as request to do the complementary act, just satisfying the OECD complaint about the lack of will, right? If your lack of will compromises the regular flow of the power as a regular and legitimate right of the state, you are out of the show, because the rights belong to the state, not to the American corrupted judge or the Brazilian slave of the criminal activity. Am I wrong? In same way, the European bank system that has total interest at the fiduciary purpose, that not has a bit at treasonable checks, misusing the influence of the bank, for instance, to supply the paramilitary activity as extra or main advantage in areas of conflict. Because every time you advance your illicit and criminal machinery. Indeed, you have the contraction of all things normally expected, including the welfare state of your society in USA. The crisis boosted the criminality on institution and state got stable. Am I telling any absurd? International Criminal Court, ACD, International Police and Antitrust Justice, USA and Europe, considering our interests on Asia and all other areas, because there are no excuse for criminal use of regular power. The first thing is the dismissal list. The second one, send heads to jail. To the seizure of heads, apply the financial penalty against the head personal property. The minor and tactical level as middle, you will do the seizure, obtain the plea bargain, or have the prison with the seizure, and in some cases apply the financial penalty in solidarity if they are going with the heads. The bottom, as operative level, you have constraint, but not as severe as the top. The top, some of them are the pandemic mobilization criminals transferred to the International Criminal Board, hosted on overseas, threatening mankind by reciprocity, asked to consider the right to bomb at least one by the choice inside the 3 boats after the delivery service of the pandemic or these heads already caught. The 3 boats as pandemic criminals will pick 1 boat at least, maybe, to be bombed, since they did frauds at the electoral procedure and the democratic system, which implies the democracy as the legitimate process to achieve the power by the choice of our people. They now will understand how relevant is this. Do not be fraudulent, because a fraud at this process at the boat will bomb the wrong boat, and then we will bomb the right boat. And the 3 boats can be bombed if we have the fraud, for instance, at the first step as election and the second one, right? So it's reciprocity police, OECD. Then we will check that the areas having attraction and increasement of items and services, generally talking, and money, liquidity money. Indeed, the liquidity money is a physiological argument of all areas, including the war industry, but the war industry is specific. The advancing of paramilitary activity and misuse of war industry implies the contraction as war machinery, for instance, in the United States, probably with lower level as security on 2023, with events global on 2028. After have the spread totally open, will be raped for sure. Then will, if you got positioned to be fucked, will be fucked. So you must block this by the interruption of the power misuse, the misuse of power currently to cover the power misuse. We have the area as a struggle on present time, the Middle East, considering Israel and Palestine, and then we will understand now who is the storage of items, who is the supplier of items, because the demand indeed we have. Who is the supplier of money by the needs we have also at this area. The 2 both must talk. If they 2 both, as Israel and Palestine leaderships, do not talk, they are part of the pandemic problem. observed and kicked from Project Connect Interpol by the complementary architecture required to set strong networks at corporations. This credit is a moral entity. We will have the last thing here. I think that's necessary, maybe or not. So it's like this. I think that we have it's the struggle. The struggle as nowadays war shouldn't be affecting the civil population. The civilians are not part of the struggle and general has no interest. You will set an interval as Banach's space, considering the areas as struggle with a table as negotiation at first to set the area A, the area B doing the negotiation, an interval as A and B to be struggle, and we will check, if you check the C as association, that indeed is a treasonous of both at the paramilitary purpose. But if goes like this as regular, they both are linked with something bigger here. Reviewing, I advanced my investment saving curve as paramilitary activity. I advanced my liquidity money curve as all things illegal. And the natural result is the contraction of my investment save war industry, letting, for instance, the America uncovered or with lower capacity as responsiveness in the way of observing at the natural, regular, organized crime. The liquidity money also will be under a contraction. Having crisis in all areas, the price paid and must be assumed as the tolerance with criminal inside the institution and state doing decision, the stability of criminal activity going on and advancing, little by little combining war as something that you consider authentic even without 100% as a sure thing, and paramilitary all around the stability, considering all other rights choked, boosting the not satisfaction of essential things and decreasement of welfare state. Requesting to the areas on present times that is having center of interest as investment saving curve always legal and illegal, considering the silence of legal area, to be supplied at the needs Israel and Palestine, for instance, or the Europe. They must talk. Israel and Palestine, they must talk. The Africa, they must talk. The Europe must keep talking. They are doing a great job. So, Brazil is always out of purpose. America is, surviving some way and kind of doing that American thing, the interface at the micro model observed at the show business. There is infrastructure on Asia choked, has any relation with the movement of illicit things. Is this for real Asia, or you are having a counterfeit and a parallel storage of all things, considering the closed environments of Asia, or we are having another movement here that will be unveiled and putting the traditional dubious storage and hidden storage Asia unveiled. But as it told, since you all violated my thing, I put you all inside my paycheck. See? And I am offering my structured proof to put you all down inside a boat. At least one bomb, the fraudulent movement at the choice will bomb the wrong boat by the guilt against the fraudulent peers. That is the bold choices as pandemic criminals. And we will have to bomb another one if the fraud got repeated by frequency we observe will finally bomb the last boat, and for sure it will be the right boat because there are no other to be bombed. Peace, a toast. The oil data Atasha, US and Europe, Portugal, 100% independent industrial asset at the portfolio hearted by Brazil and peers with no excuse to be exist as misusers of power. Have a great Sunday and week.